Good evening, Internet World and Universe! This is O.R.Ash, and welcome back to the Drawing Matrix! In this episode, we will be continuing our Ultimates Overhauled series. If you haven't seen either of the last videos and don't know how these drawing challenges work, we'll be listing the design rules in the description. Make sure to check out the links while you're down there. Thanks! Last time we covered 5 of the original 10 aliens, so today we're finishing up that playlist with the other 5. Ripjaws, Stinkfly, Diamondhead, Upgrade, and Ghostfreak. Let's get started.
Sorry, just needed to moisturize.
First up on the plate is one of my favorite original series boys, Ripjaws. Now, Ripjaws wasn't utilized very much at all. Outside the original series, he only has 5 appearances, 2 of which are splash-second cameos. He's just kind of a fish guy that spent half his screen time sounding like SpongeBob from that Tree Dome episode. Aside from the scariness of his bite, design-wise, he is just a skinny fish dude. So for his ultimate, my idea stemmed in the design first rather than his power. I wanted him to look more like one of Ben's more iconic aliens. Forearms, Humongousaur, Wrath, so that you really get that wow glow-up worthiness of an ultimate Ripjaws. I always felt that originally he was supposed to be kind of a mix between an anglerfish and a crocodile. So for this ultimate, I thought amping up the croc aspects would help convey the amount of protein powder I shoved into his breathing apparatus when buffing him up. With this croc buff up, I balanced his new strength in a tanky way by shortening his limbs and enlarging his tail for more swinging attacks. One thing I wanted to add in was the rough hide of a crocodile, so he has a lot more durability to him. I didn't want to accidentally turn him into a reptile rather than a fish, so I thought, why not use the rough barbed skin of a pufferfish? It stays within the fishy family. A pufferfish is a fish, it's in the name. As for the weird new ability that every ultimate gets, I was thinking of making him scarier. So I took inspiration from the real-life jaw-popping fish, the goblin shark. Goblin sharks have the ability to unhinge and shoot their jaws a few inches off their face so that they can catch prey easier. So I took that ability and tacked it onto this ultimate, but I made it to where he can shoot his jaw up to like 10 feet away. That would be a terrifying upgrade to his already terrifying bite. Evolutionarily, I think this guy would be a lot more of an ambush predator than his base form, lurking deep in the dark waters where he can't be seen. Because he's trying to be more hidden, he no longer has his angler, since now, instead of luring prey to him, he can just pop his jaw off and go up and grab him. Nom nom. So to recap, with this ultimate Ripjaws, his new abilities include increased strength, 10 times the base form, retractable jaw, rough barbed skin, and he can now breathe out of water, because why not? As far as the trade-off with this alien, his larger mass and shorter limbs makes him a lot slower on land. He no longer has bioluminescence, and now he just permanently has a tail. Other than that, this is my first ultimate Ripjaws concept I call Croc Jaws.
Ultimate Ripjaws!
With Ripjaws being one of my favorites of the original series, of course I couldn't do only one design. So, for this design, like Heat Blast in the previous video, I based it off of an old concept that I did before I was a part of the ink tank. The original idea for this guy was that I thought it would be really cool if Ripjaws could separate his body into a school of piranha that he could sick to attack people. I even themed his suit to look like a fishnet to keep them all together. Looking back, I think this is still kind of a fun idea, so I decided to just expand upon it. Now with this new version, instead of making the symbiotic school of fish body thing attack enemies and prey, now the evolved Piscus Valon uses them as a sort of new upgraded version of a bioluminescent lure, being able to have them swim around as a distraction so that the base body, the leftover skeletal fish creature inside, can attack. This skeletal body is also equipped with some hardened scales to provide additional protection when the mass of its body is separated out into the school. I imagine this guy is roughly the size of a truck. He spends his day lurking in the darker part of the ocean, sending up his lures to distract something, then lunging up Jaws style for the kill. The biggest downside I would say for this ultimate is that it evolved for the water, so thar it stays. This guy can no longer be used on land almost at all. Not only because he's not able to breathe, but also because the pressure difference from where he resides normally is so drastically different from the surface pressure, he gets ultranobaric vertigo, or pressure dizziness. Not to mention, he got my ultimate treatment of stealing his legs, so no more land. To recap for this ultimate Ripjaws, his new abilities include a symbiotic school body form, enhanced bioluminescence, and skeletal separation. As far as his trade-offs, he's losing his land legs, both thematically and literally. This is my second ultimate Ripjaws concept that I nicknamed RGB Jaws.
Stinkfly, and this joy rides over.
Next up, we have another very underutilized alien that I love much. The mucus morpho himself, Stinkfly. Stinkfly is a pretty simple alien concept that I just find really enjoyable. Adding just random weird abilities to him didn't really feel satisfying. So I ended up finding inspiration in something I do find satisfying, a little game I call Hollow Knight. TLDR, all the characters are various bug species, and one of them, called the Gruzmother, gave me the idea for this guy. We make him thick, with a capital Ick. This ultimate Lepidopteran is a living snot factory. His body produces so much slime that it swelled into a carapaced flying loogie the size of a minivan. This new slime he produces can thicken and solidify into a state as solid as stone, used either to capture small enemies or to use as really gross defenses. He's able to fire this slime from the new 5 sets of ocular ports circling his body, giving him full bodily coverage as well as retaining his 360 vision. Due to his immense size, his legs, like those of most of the ultimates I make, become near useless. But he does have new massive wings to keep him moving. I actually ended up working on this concept a bit during one of our Patreon streams, and many of our Patreons pointed out that he looked a bit like Larva Max from Dr. Animo and the Mutant Ray. I didn't realize that beforehand, and when I heard that, I decided to make it look more like Larva Max. So, thank you, patrons. So, to recap for this ultimate Stinkfly, his new abilities include a new, massive, durable body, thickening slime, as well as numerous ocular ports to fire said slime from. As for his trade-off, well, his legs are now pretty much just decorative. Oh, and he no longer has a stinger tail, it was replaced with one of the ocular ports. Other than that, this is my first ultimate Stinkfly concept I dub Gunk Tank.
Ultimate Stinkfly!
From struggling to think of something to realizing I almost missed a great opportunity to make a redesign, we have yet another ultimate Stinkfly. With this design, I wanted to show the Ben 10 reboot some love, and base this guy off of their iteration of Stinkfly. Now, I know a lot of people had problems with how drastically different the reboot version looked from the original series. I mean, myself included. But over time, I came to appreciate the design. So I thought, why not try to make it an ultimate Stinkfly? Because ultimate Stinkfly is related to Stinkfly, but not Stinkfly. How many times can I say Stinkfly? Stinkfly, Stinkfly, Stinkfly. I actually really like the direction of the humanoid shape they were going for, but wanted to make it a bit more insectoid to bring back some of the weird buggy goodness of the original series. Like always, I removed some legs and made him bipedal. I made his limbs longer and a lot more segmented to give it more of an insectoid feel, while also giving him better balance support when landing or taking off. The rest of his frame is a lot smaller and more streamlined, wings included, to help give him an increase in flight speed. Now, as far as fast-flying bugs that I'm aware of, my first thought that pops up is a dragonfly. So I tossed some dragonfly elements in there, elongating his abdomen and shrinking his thorax, also giving him those big old bug eyes. Oh, look at those eyes. I don't know. As far as weird new abilities, I thought to keep it simple and just change the effect of his slime. Explosive slime. The main reason being is that I had a really fun idea to do with his eyes. Instead of ocular ports, his eyes are now slime dispensing stalks. Light refracts through the slime bubbles surrounding his eye stalks, letting him keep his 360 vision, but now he can pull these bubbles off and throw them like sticky grenades. As another fun upgrade, his tail can now act as a syringe and inject the explosive slime into anything he can stab. Admittedly, I had a lot of fun with this one. I really like how this turned out. So, to recap for my design, his new abilities include explosive slime, detachable eye bombs, a syringe tail, and a massive increase in speed. As far as his trade-off, he loses some legs and some eyes, his wings become thinner but longer, and he overall is a bit smaller. I would say he's probably like a foot shorter than base Stinkfly. This is my second concept for an ultimate Stinkfly I dub Stink Bomb.
Ultimate Stinkfly!
What can this guy do?
I don't know, but I bet it's gonna be cool.
Moving right along, we are now going to be working on Ultimate Diamondhead. Something I would like to say before anything else though. I still think that Chroma Stone should have been Ultimate Diamondhead. I advocated for this a lot in the first Ultimate video, and after looking extensively into the lore of Petrosapiens and the only Crystal Sapien, Sugilite, I honestly still stand by my thought. Because holy hell, the secret of Chroma Stone is a mess of an episode. But on that note, I know that Kuro advocates for Sugilite being his own thing and not an ultimate, so out of respect and contractual obligation, I am going to be making something different. Because of the research I did on all the lore bits before working on this design, my brain had became slugs. I just went straight to the superpower wiki and kept pressing random page until I found something I could work with. What I ended up rolling with was invisibility. You know, he's a crystalline creature, that could somehow work. He learns to manipulate the refraction of light around himself to essentially go invisible. Yeah, that works. So I started sketching something up that was a much lighter, springier frame, because I thought with invisibility, he should probably be a little bit more sneaky and stealthy like a ninja. So running with the ninja theme, I thought it would be cool if, with his light manipulation, he could also use it to make like refracted illusions. He'd even be able to stretch this ability to the crystals he generates that aren't a part of his body, making for great decoys and sneak attacks. To top off the ninja theme to the design, I actually changed his head shape to resemble a traditional Japanese sandogasa. They were originally used to protect the wearer from the sun, but this crystal boy uses it as a very large refractable light catch he's able to bounce more refractions off of, making it to where he can stretch his illusions even further away from him. To recap with this ultimate, his new abilities include refracted light manipulation that he uses to make illusions and become invisible. The trade-off is that he is much smaller in mass and size, so he can move around a lot quicker. This is my ultimate Diamondhead concept I call Ninjem.
Ultimate Diamondhead.
It's a slaughter fest!
Moving right along, now it is time for upgrade to get an upgrade. I kept seeing a lot of people suggesting that for ultimate upgrade that I simply just make him be able to enhance organic matter as well as technology. And that's not a bad idea. I don't like it though, mainly because that just seems like we're going to be turning him into Venom, so instead I decided to lean more into the nanite aspect of upgrade. Despite the gooey look to them, galvanic mechamorphs are actually made up of millions of nanites that can move around in very fluid shapes. So I thought, why stop at fluid? With this ultimate upgrade I'm working on, he has full conscious control over the nanite structure of his body, giving him total density shifting, from clenching them tight enough together to become solid steel masses, or separating them far enough to become metallic clouds. Ultimate Upgrade has full control of his physical being, and thanks to this new density shifting, he inadvertently gains 2 additional abilities. One, he is able to upgrade and control technology remotely with nanite clouds or globs that he just separates off of his body. You know, whenever he just kinda blorps them off of his body.
Blorp. That's not how it works.
The second that I thought up is that now he is able to quickly scatter his structure and reform it almost instantly within 100 or foot so range, essentially giving him teleportation. Now, this full control upgrade works up quite the electric bill, so he doesn't really have enough power set aside to be able to fire optic lasers anymore, so apologies, but no more eye lasers. Another downside to this guy is that because it is still technically a transformation, he still can't fully merge with the living tissue of the Trix user, so he ends up becoming a situation similar to Goop, where he has a central command core that controls his bodily structure. This core is a weak point to the ultimate galvanic mechamorph because it is the brain of the Trix user as a nanite, I guess, or whatever the bioorganic semblance is in this situation. So to recap with Ultimate Upgrade, pretty much his only new ability is density shifting, but because of said density shifting, he inadvertently also has remote control of technology and teleportation. As for the trade-offs, he is no longer able to fire optic lasers and, again, the central core. So this is my ultimate upgrade that I dub Machine God.
Ultimate Upgrade!
See ya. Wouldn't wanna be ya.
And now, on to the final ultimate of the day. Rounding off the original 10 aliens, we have the one transformation that said, fuck this shit, I'm out. And that is Ghostfreak. This was the toughest design for this video, and honestly, I'm still a bit iffy on it. I legitimately went through 13 different iterations of this guy before I settled on this one. I wanted to, of course, add new powers like we do with all the other ones, and I wanted them to be new ghostly powers, but Ghostfreak kind of already has all the well-known ones. So instead, I started rewatching some of Ghostfreak's episodes, and eventually got to the Scare episode. In that episode, I saw that he really struggled with possessing people and having to deal with the sun. So I thought, why not make those things not difficult for him? So, you know those striped tendrils that ectoneurites normally have on their insides? Those now hang out of the top of their heads, and he can rip them out and send them to possess people for him. Like little striped spooky snakes. When the snakes finally get to someone and successfully possess them, a new eyeball pops up on the ectoneurite's face. Then, to deal with the sun weakness, I kept going back and forth on what I actually wanted to do. In our inner system and beyond, we explained that ectoneurites are weak to the sun because when they do all the ghosty shit that they do, they're spreading their cells out, and the heat from sunlight causes them to spread too thin and dissipate. You know what, Horace explains it better, just check out that video when you get a chance. But in that thought, the only way I could think to make him immune to the sun would be to take away his density shifting and solidify him, which again, I didn't really want to do because that essentially takes the ghost out of the freak. It's just a freak. You're a freak! So I kind of compromised. The ultimate ectoneurite can no longer density shift, but their cells are locked into a semi-permeable state. This state lets them keep their intangibility, but lose their invisibility. Now, because they're stuck being intangible all the time, they actually can't physically interact with stuff. So I thought, why not give them telekinesis? It's a power that Scare randomly has sometimes, so now we can just chalk it up as to an ability that he has all the time. Why not? And then for fun, I decided I wanted to add in some little paranormal activity vibes. You know how they like futz with electrical stuff? The bottom half of this ultimate ectoneurite is a completely exposed nervous system membrane. He can build up the electrical charges from his nervous system into small jolts of energy. Essentially, he could just sneak up behind someone and just give him a little shock. So, to recap for this ultimate, remote possession via spooky snake hair, minor energy manipulation, telekinesis, and sun immunity. As for his trade-offs, because we gave him sun immunity, he no longer can physically interact with things, and he now has a pretty big energy weakness. Other than that, this is my ultimate Ghostfreak. I dub Boltergeist.
Ultimate Ghostfreak.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed these designs, because I have been racking my brain trying to come up with something decent for each of them for like 2 months. As usual, make sure you check out our links down below. Down there we've got links to my socials where you can check out all the albedo edits of the guys that we made today, as well as our newly refurbished Twitch channel where I stream art and games 4 days a week. As always, I am O.R.Ash and I'm surviving. Are you? Peace.